All right, guys, keep that going for Willow. That was amazing. We hope to see more of you at Stage Presence. For those of you who don't know what this is, Stage Presence, like I've been saying all night, is the monthly Wyoming talent showcase that we do here in Lander, Wyoming. It's open to anybody in Wyoming that wants to do it. A lot of people from here in Lander, a lot of people here in Fremont County perform for this. We're excited for the rest of the evening. I'm excited to be bringing up our next performer here in just a moment too. I am letting folks know I'm going to be doing some comedy here in a little bit. I'm going to be doing a mixture of stand-up and improv. So I'm going to be going around and getting suggestions from you guys throughout the rest of the evening until I go up. I'll be coming out to the audience and asking you guys for that here in just a few. And to get you in that comedy mood right now, I'm excited to be bringing one of my good friends, one of the funniest people that I know, Mr. Ron Howard, everybody.
Oh, wow, thank you. Oh my God, this looks like a scene from The Postman. Thanks, Vince. Vince is, he and I have been doing comedy for a number of years. I love the way he dressed. He dressed like if Jesus was going to Coachella. So, it's good to be here. I love playing Lander. Lander's one of my favorite towns. You guys are a lot smarter than most of the other towns that I've played in. In fact, not too long ago, I was doing a gig in Riverton, and I said the word exacerbate, and they thought it was a sex act. So, I'm glad to be here. You guys are very smart. So, I wrote down a list of the things I wanted to talk to you about, so I wouldn't forget. Otherwise, my set would only be about 3 minutes long. So, I'm not from Lander. I used to live here years ago, and people could tell that I'm not from here. And it was pretty easy because I was the only one going around that didn't have any tattoos. The only one that I didn't have a backpack. Didn't go around with a walking stick. So it was pretty easy to figure out that I wasn't from here. But I am from Riverton, and people are surprised that I'm from Riverton because I don't fit in there either. Mainly because I don't back my car into all of my parking spaces. And another thing, I don't carry a spare vehicle in the back of my car, like everybody in Riverton does. Have you noticed they're all Fords, too, by the way? Usually when I tell that joke, I go to the parking lot and I see how many trucks are out there and I count. If there's more Fords, then I'll say Dodge. So here it is Wednesday night. It's kind of an unusual night to be doing this. Usually when I do this, it's on a Friday or a Saturday. So most of you guys have to work tomorrow, so it gives me an extra challenge because usually if this was a Friday or a Saturday, most of you guys would be drunk by now and I would be a lot funnier. So, but I'll give it my best. Vince had said that this was kind of an open mic kind of thing, which is kind of cool because that's how I got my start doing open mic. But it wasn't out here, it was actually when I was in jail. I was in jail, and every Thursday night, the inmates would get together and they would do open mic. And I was really scared. I'd never performed in front of strangers before. But some of the inmates got together, they took me under their wing and they showed me that it was okay. And so I started performing on open mic night, and I began to really enjoy it. Everybody enjoyed it, except Mike, of course. And wow. So if you haven't noticed, I'm Native American, and I don't mind the name, the term Native American. I don't mind the term indigenous or First Nations. There we go. There's my brother sitting over here. So I don't mind. The term redskin I think has to go. I think we're all on the same boat with that one. But the one thing that gets me is a lot of jokes I have to be very careful about because everybody's sensitive these days. You guys seem like an intelligent crowd, so I could probably, I'm probably safe with you guys. But you got to be careful because anytime, and I don't think it's a right wing or a left wing thing. I think it's everybody is just too sensitive. So with that in mind, I was thinking about a conversation I had with some other guys from like different countries. There was a couple other Native Americans there. And this was a few years ago. This one Native guy was really sensitive. And so this guy from Japan asked me what I was, which meaning, am I Mexican or am I what? And I said, well, I'm Native American. And so this other Native guy got angry and he said, you're not Native American. You're American Native. And I thought, what the hell are you talking about? American Native. Okay, I'll be American Native if you'll be a whole ass. So, moving on. So as a Native American, I'm probably the only guy on the reservation that's never run for council. I was thinking about it. I told my dad about it one time. I said, I'm thinking about running for council. He said, no, don't do that. He said, for all the people that you piss off, you'll be the first councilman to ever be assassinated. So I gave it some thought. I did think, if I ever run for council, I'm going to run on the platform that if elected, I'm going to build a wall around Ethity and make the Shoshone tribe pay for it. I told that joke one time, and every native that I knew, Shoshone and Arapaho, thought it was hilarious. And it was all the non-natives. It said, don't say stuff like that, Ron. Be a uniter, not a divider. But I thought I brought us a little closer together. What do you think? Right. So anyway, I don't see any little kids in here. Can I tell you a couple of adult jokes, maybe? All right, so I am Native American, but a lot of times people mistake me for other nationalities other than Native American. I've had people come up and speak Italian to me. I've had people come up speak Arabic or Turkish to me. And when I go off the reservation, a lot of times I'll have to put some kind of Native American thing on so that they'll say, oh, there's an illegal alien. No, wait, he's Native, never mind, let him go. But one day, and this actually happened, somebody actually called immigration on me one day. I was at home watching TV, there's a pounding at the door, bang, 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 open up, immigration. And I thought it was one of my buddies playing a prank on me, so I opened the door, but sure enough, there was 2 immigration officers, 2 deputy sheriffs, and 2 highway patrols standing there, all with their hands on their gun. And the immigration officer said, yeah, we got a call that there's an illegal living in this house. And I said, no, I'm the only one living here. And so he asked me for my green card, and I don't have a green card. And so, oh no, here comes a little kid. All right, I'm going to say it anyway. I don't think they'll understand because... So, when he asked me for my green card, the only thing I could think to do was to fake a Chinese accent. So when he asked me, do you have a green card? I said, fuck your mother. Fuck your grandmother. I shoved 2 chopsticks up your ass. I think they must have thought I was a glitch in the Matrix because they didn't waste any time getting out of there. But oh, where am I here? Oh yeah. I don't know if you guys heard this on the news. Vince works for County 10. Maybe you read it in one of the papers, but there was a tornado on the reservation last week. Did you guys hear about that? It touched down at the Beaver Creek Tribal Housing. It did $12 million worth of improvement. So, I've been doing stand-up for a number of years now, and I started doing it because I had speech problems when I was younger. And this was before the days that I knew that speech therapy was a thing. So what I did was I got a tape recorder for Christmas one year, and I would record every Saturday a weekly top 40 with Casey Kasem. Some of you older guys might know that. Never heard of him? And so I would play that back and I would repeat what he said. And that's why I talk the way I do. Because a lot of Native women think that I'm gay. And I've asked women, why do you think I'm gay? And they say, because you talk like a white man. So with that logic, any of you white guys, if you go out to the reservation, you start putting the moves on a Native woman, she's gonna think you're bi-curious. So just be prepared. So something like that happened again. I don't know if you guys know a woman by the name of Sarah Wiles that lives here in town. You guys know her? She wrote a couple of books on the Arapaho tribe, and I had the good fortune of being in both of those books. I was very humbled and very honored by that. And when her second book came out, she was at the Carnegie Room at the Lander Library. She invited me to the book signing, and she said, and when I got there, she came up to me and she said, "Can you introduce me at 7 o'clock, and then I'll give a talk, and then you can come up and talk about your portion?" I said, "Sure." So at 7 o'clock, I got up in front of the crowd and I said, "Thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. I see that there's native and non-native people here. I think that that's a great sign that we're coming together," and some other stuff. And so it was a great night. I came up and I talked about my little portion of the book, and then there was a woman that came up to me, a little old woman about this high, came up to me and she's shaking my hand, and she says, "Congratulations on such a wonderful, wonderful speech." And I said, "Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that." She's still shaking my hand, and she said, "There's something I want to say, but I don't know how to say it." And she seemed like such a sweet old lady. So I'm sitting there shaking her hand. I said, "Well, just tell me, just spit it out. I'm sure you won't offend me." And she said, "I'm not kidding, this really happened. You're the most articulate Indian I've ever encountered." And so here I am thinking, okay, I said that you weren't going to offend me. That was pretty damn offensive. So I start squeezing her hand just a little bit harder as but that's that subtle racism is all over the place. And I think a lot of people, when they say things like that, they don't mean to be racist. I think we just all need to sort of think about what we say before we say it. So anyway, that's my public service announcement for the evening. Let's see, where am I? Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to put my paper away for this one. So I'm almost completely deaf. Some of you might know that, who were familiar, who know me, but I hate it because I have ringing in my ears all the time. I only have about 30% hearing in this ear, and it comes from being in the Army for too long. But I can use it to my advantage sometimes, because if somebody, especially when religious people are around, because when the religious people are around, they always like to ask you, "Have you accepted Jesus as your Savior?" Now, I never liked that question to begin with, because I think it's a little too personal, it's invasive. So when they come up to me and they ask me, "Have you accepted Jesus as your Savior?" I can just say, which is, "Sorry, I'm deaf." Most of the time that works, but the other day, this guy comes up to me and he says, "Have you accepted Jesus as your Savior?" And I said, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then he went, and then I said, "Shit." Anyway, let's see, where am I? So my wife is here, my beautiful wife Amy is here, and we've talked a lot about our exes. She had ex-boyfriends, I had ex-girlfriends, and so we acknowledge that. And I like to talk about, because I used to date older women, and when I was in my 20s, I dated women that were like in their 40s. I just turned 57 the other day, so I can't really be dating older women. Because if I did, they'd be in their like 70s or 80s by now, which there's nothing wrong with that. But, a typical date might be going to the senior center for lunch, going to Walgreens to get tips for the quad cane, take her dancing, I'm out there doing my thing. She's out there, her hips are swinging back and forth, not because she's got rhythm, but because they're about to break. I had another girlfriend once. Her name was Candy, and she was beautiful. Oh my God, she was gorgeous, beautiful. Her name was Candy, and we dated for about 3 or 4 months, and then she finally said, "Ron, are we ever going to, get physical?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I want to, but I didn't want you to think that I was just in this because of your looks." And she said, "Well, I got that message now." So, like two consenting adults, we sat down over coffee. We started talking about these you know, the things that we liked, the things we didn't like, the things that we wanted to try. You know, it was a really cool conversation. And then she said the one thing that she loved the most was receiving, how can I say this? Cunning linguistics. Let's just say that. Cunning linguistics. That's what she said she liked. And I said, oh. And I frowned a little bit. She said, what's the matter? And I said, I'm afraid I can't do that. And she said, why not? Is it against your religion or something? And I said, no, Candy, you don't understand. I'm diabetic. Yeah. If this was in Riverton, you guys would still be going, what? All right. Well, let's see. Where am I at here? Oh, yeah. There was one. This last one I wanted to tell was a joke that I told, and it got a lot of laughs and stuff. And then I saw another comedian tell the almost exact same joke. The punchline was pretty much the same, but my setup was a lot different than his. I don't think it's stealing the joke, because I ended up writing it. He wrote the same one basically, but I'm going to say it anyway. So I don't know if you guys do this or not, but I have a depressive disorder, and sometimes I get in these ruts. And during Christmas break last year, because I'm a teacher, by the way, during Christmas break, I told Amy, I said, I'm going to go take a drive for a little bit. I'm not feeling very good. So I got in my car, started driving. Pretty soon I was here in Lander. I kept driving. Pretty soon I was in Rollins. I kept driving. Pretty soon I was on the interstate, and I was in eastern Nebraska in some dingy hotel room off the interstate. And the further I went, the more depressed I got. And I thought, how am I going to tell Amy this? If I call her, she's going to want to divorce me. That's going to make me feel even worse. So I'm in this dingy hotel room. There's a big stain on the carpet. It's probably dried blood. I'm wondering how many drug overdoses took place in this room, right? It's snowing really bad. It's blowing snow. It's drifting up over my car already. And so I sat on the edge of the bed. I opened up the drawer, and there was the Gideon's Bible. And for the first time in my life, I picked up that Bible, and I opened it up, and I started looking through it for something that would make me feel better, some kind of redemption. So I got to the book of Matthew, and I opened it up, and there was a little handwritten note there. I looked at it, and it said, "Are you at the end of your rope? Do you not know where to go? If so, call this number." So I called it, and I was saved. It was a liquor store that delivered. All right, people, that's my time. Thank you very much. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Good job.
Oh, thank you. Oh, hi. Thank you.
Guys, keep it going for Ron Howard. That was hilarious. Calling me Coachella, Jesus. Come on, Ron. I like that he mentioned going for council. He's dressed like he's going for council tonight. Give this guy a cane and he looks like he's going to run a park full of dinosaurs that go rampant.